After writing 2 transformational books myself and supporting many other beings to do the same, I've become enthralled by the deep and mysterious magic that's activated when we choose to say yes to ourselves and commit to the book writing journey. Of course, we want to inspire change and new perspectives in our readers, but the transformation that happens as an author, both throughout the writing process and by actually releasing your book into the world, is surprisingly potent. I know I've been blindsided in the most disruptive and delicious ways by some of the changes my books have brought into my life. Writing a book is like casting a spell. Although we can never be completely sure what's going to be unleashed during the process, we choose to do it anyway. This Unbound one is a heroic journey. Each book has the potential to be a magical portal, a doorway to a new world, both for you and your reader. Each book has a very specific medicine that it's here to share with us. And each book gives us the opportunity to alchemize the magnificent imperfection of our experience into gold. The truth is that anyone can write a book. We could all get a few thousand words down and put them together. But what fascinates me is what happens when we allow the book writing process to go deeper. When we say, fuck it, get naked and dive way down beneath the surface. Letting go of the shoulds and any need to be acceptable, sensible, or approved of. What fascinates me is what happens when we make ourselves fully available to being transformed by the very act of writing a book. This is Unbound Writing, and this is the process we'll be exploring together here in the Unbound Writers Club. I'm Nicola, author and founder of the Unbound Press, and I help magical beings to write the transformational book they're really here to write at this time. I'm your guide here in the Unbound Writers Club, and the aim of this podcast is to help you to feel supported, encouraged, activated as you embark on your book writing journey. Whether you're a first-time author or have many books out in the world, my hope is that you will find something here to inspire you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club. Oh my goodness, I nearly forgot what the name of the podcast was then. Anyway. Let's skip over that. Maybe a little bit of perimeno brain, who knows, but welcome in any case. And this week I am beginning a new series, a 3-part series here on the podcast. I asked at the beginning of the year over in the free Get Book Ready Facebook group. If you're not in that group already, please feel free to come and join us. I asked, what would you like me to be sharing about on the podcast? Like, what questions are coming up for you? What challenges are you experiencing? What do you want me to speak to? And it seemed like one of the main things that was coming up, well, there were a couple of pieces, really. One of the questions was like, how do you actually get started? Which is kind of a perennial question. It's an eternal question that comes up. So it feels helpful to share something around that. And the other piece, and maybe this came up even more, was like, how do you bring your book together? Like, once you've been in writing mode, particularly when you've been writing in this really free and unbound way, how do you actually bring it together into something that feels coherent? How do you actually get to the point of completion with your book? So what I wanted to do is to create this series for you where I am talking about each of the 3 stages of writing a book. So first, how to get started, like what to focus on at the beginning, to, what to focus on in the middle, the messy middle. It can feel quite messy in the middle of the process. What are the most powerful things for you to focus on there? And 3, what to focus on at the stage where you are bringing everything together and moving towards the point of completion. And by giving you some very specific things to focus on, like, my intention is that rather than being in this place of like, oh, I'm not sure what to do, I'm not sure what my next step is, where we can like easily slip into procrastination, distraction, like drifting off towards another project. It's like coming back to this series and just going, okay, I'm at the beginning stage. What would it be most powerful for me to focus on? Okay, I'm like in the middle. It's feeling a little bit messy. Like what would it be most powerful for me to focus on right now? And of course, at the end stage, like how am I going to bring all this together? Let me kind of check in and see what are the three most powerful things that could be my next step right now. So that's what we're going to be covering over the next 3 weeks. This episode is very much about the beginning stages, and everything I am covering in these 3 episodes, there'll be 3 kind of steps, action points, things to focus on in each episode. This is actually the core content for my brand new group program, Birth Your Transformational Book, where we are moving through each of these 3 stages. So beginning, middle, obviously, because you can't jump straight from beginning to end, and the completion point. So if you are really feeling called to commit to your book this year in 2024, then I would invite you to join us in Birth Your Transformational Book, because we are going to be moving through each of these stages together. And my intention is that, we get to have these tangible steps that you can be taking to really make progress with your book. So it does actually get to be birthed. Something I was talking about, I did a training, a free class where I was talking about the things that I'm going to be sharing with you in this series. And I shared out of all of the people who want to write a book and start to write a book, only 3% actually get to the point of completion. Now, I'm not entirely sure where that statistic comes from, but it rings true to me, because I know, like, from having pretty much everyone I have a conversation with wants to write a book. And a lot of those people have started the process. And I know that it is only a very small percentage that actually get to the point of birthing their books into the world. If you're one of those people, freaking go you. You are amazing. Like, you are in the 3%, like a really tiny percentage of people who actually get to that point. And there are so many reasons why, you may not have got to that point so far. And actually completing your book may feel like a distant dream. And I want to bring it closer for you. Like, I'm really, really committed right now. And I shared about this last week on the podcast, like the intention over the next just over a year is to hold space for 1,000 magical beings to write their books, and by May 2025. So like I want to increase that percentage of people who actually get to the point of completing their books. And especially for magical, spiritual, soul-led, transformational authors like you, who, like, your book is going to make such a difference. It needs to be out there. Anyway, can you tell I'm passionate about it? Let's dive into like stage 1, which is what to focus on at the beginning of your book writing journey. So maybe you haven't quite started yet. Maybe you have started, but after that initial flurry of excitement, enthusiasm, it's like, well, what next? Like, what is the most important thing for me to do? So in each of these 3 stages that I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks, the most important thing, and this isn't one of the steps that I'm talking about, this is just a given. The most important thing is to be cultivating this dedicated practice of writing. Getting into the habit of writing in a dedicated way. I purposely use dedicated rather than consistent, because I know that can be a trigger word for many of us, including me. But showing up for your writing in a dedicated way. So whatever I'm sharing, like in this episode and the next couple of episodes, you want to be, like I say, starting to cultivate this dedicated writing practice. That might be showing up a little bit each day or most days for your writing. It might be like blocking out one day a week, or 3 days out of the month where you are like really diving into your book writing process. It might be booking a kind of writing retreat for yourself, taking yourself off somewhere, something I'm doing in a couple of weeks' time, really tuning into, what would feel most powerful for you right now and showing up. But the thing is, what's going to help you to show up is having that clarity around what to focus on. And that's what this first stage is very much about. Those different layers of clarity that you get to access. And, I talk about conceiving, like that specific book that is wanting to be birthed through you. So, like, tuning into that clarity is really going to help. So, the 3 things that I recommend you focus on at the beginning of your journey. One is like, this is foundational. You may well have heard me speaking about this before, but it's connecting with your book. And when I say that, what I mean is like knowing that your book has an essence, an energy, a spirit, a soul, a personality, like however you want to think of it, it has that essence, that energy of its own. And you get to actually be in relationship with your book. Yeah, like your book wants to co-create with you. Like that is like one of the main underlying principles of the unbound writing approach. Like we engage with our books in a way that we acknowledge that our books have a life of their own, and they have desires, intentions of their own. They want to make an impact. So they have a specific message or messages, or certainly energy, that they want to be expressed in the world. And when you relate to your book in that way, it changes the game. Yeah, like rather than you being in this place where it's like, okay, I'm making up this stuff that I want to share. Like, I'm not saying you're making up what you want to share, but it's like rather than it all coming from you, you get to be in this like co-creative partnership with your book, this being that wants something to be expressed and has chosen you to express that through. So this is where a huge amount of clarity can drop in when we approach our book writing journey in this way. Like right at the beginning, I recommend that you invite your book into the process with you. You make that connection and you are asking the question, like, what do you want me to share? What do you want to be? Now, you can do this in different ways. I have a connecting with your book meditation, which guides you through the process. And that's what we're going to be doing, like right at the beginning of Birth Your Transformational Book together. And whether you've started your journey or not, like, yes, I absolutely recommend doing this at the beginning, but it's something you get to do right throughout your process, be in this connected relationship with your book. So yeah, you can approach it as a meditation. You can just come to the page and like ask your book questions. Like, what do you want me to express? What's my next step? What do you want to be in the world? What do you want me to share? Just asking whatever questions are going to give you clarity. You can do that on the page and allow your book to answer you. You can go for a walk. That's something I often do with my book, and just, be asking it questions as I'm going. Just knowing that it doesn't all have to come from you. You can ask for this guidance. It's going to give you so much clarity. So that's the first step, connecting with your book, recognizing that this gets to be a co-created experience with the essence, the energy, the spirit, the soul of your book, however you want to approach it. The second step here is to get clear on your mission, your intention, the vision you hold for your book. What is the impact that you want to have through the writing of your book? What is the change that you want to create? What is the transformation that you want to create in the world? So really getting clear on your purpose, I guess, your why. And when you do this, when you kind of take some time to get clear on that, because it's going to be there, it's 100% going to be there. When, if you're feeling a call to write a book, there's a reason for that. It's going to be in service to something greater. So it's really asking the question, well, what is that? What is the difference I want to make through this book? And it doesn't have to be really grandiose. It might be, through all of my work around Unbound writing and through the Unbound press, our vision is to change the world one book at a time. So I guess that is quite grandiose, but it can be really specific. It could be like a mini mission, whatever it is, but just taking some time to ask those questions. What is my purpose with the book? And just, you can again connect with your book and gain more clarity on that. But what it's going to do when you are connected with that, what your mission is, what your intention is, what your vision is, that will help to carry you through any times that feel challenging. Like any of the times when you're questioning, like, what is the point? Like, it's coming back to what your purpose is, what your mission is. So that's step number 2, like defining your mission. What's the change you want to create? And then step number 3 is reflecting on your own personal journey, your own experience, like throughout your life, like everything that's brought you to the point you are now, where you are at this place where you're feeling called to write your book. Like, what are the personal stories and experiences that feel most impactful for you? Which are the ones that have really made a difference in your life? Those turning points, those challenges that you've experienced and overcome, the breakthroughs that you've had, like the relationships or experiences that have taught you the most. And it can be really helpful to kind of sit down and go through a timeline of your life and just draw out those key experiences and look at, like, what are the threads here? What are those kind of golden threads? What are the, like, key messages, the key learnings that you've experienced? And, like, you get a sense of your purpose by looking back. So, when I look back at my life, I know from a very early age, like, I love writing, I loved stories, I love reading, I love books. That's what I wanted to be when I was little. I wanted to be a writer. And then I kind of tucked that away. I went on this journey. And as I look at my journey, like that theme of the good girl, the inner good girl, kind of came through, how I tried to follow this path of the good girl. And then in my kind of mid to late 30s, there was this turning point where I recognized, like, I can't carry on like this. So that's when the unbound self started to come forward. And through my work with the unbound self, like living unbound and asking that question, how can I unbind from this good girl conditioning? That's when my writing started to come through again. So when I reflect on my life, there will be, of course, other kind of plot lines that I could have drawn on, that I may draw on in the future. But that's like a key one. So you can look back and go, okay, where are the clues about what it might be powerful for me to write about? And particularly when you've connected with your books, you have a sense of what the book wants to be, you've kind of got clear on your mission, your vision, your intention, you can see which of those personal stories and experiences are going to help to bring your book to life, to really illustrate the messages you want to share. So that is the 3 layers of clarity, like the 3 steps that I recommend you focus on at the beginning of your process. 1, connecting with your book, like inviting it into a co-creative relationship with you. 2, defining your mission. And 3, reflecting back on your own personal stories and experiences. Like, there is a treasure trove of experience that you get to share through your book. Maybe not all in one book, but you can look at, okay, what would be most powerful for me to share about my own experience? So I hope that's helpful. If you're at the beginning of your journey right now, maybe you're only thinking about getting started and that gives you something to focus on. Or maybe you've started already. Like, even if you're quite a way into your process, it's helpful to revisit each of these areas. There's this ongoing process of kind of gaining clarity. And these are 3 steps that you can focus on to anchor even more deeply into what your book wants to be. So next time I will be back with what to focus on in the middle stages of your book. In the meantime, if you are feeling called to join us in Birth Your Transformational Book, if 2024 is the year you are doing it and you want to go together, you want to do this in community with my support and the support of other members of the Unbound Writing community, then please do come and join us there. I would love to have you on the journey. You can go to unboundwriting, all one word, .co/birth your transformational book. The details are in the show notes. Go take a look and come join us. All right, my loves, I will be back soon. Here's to writing the book you are called to write. And let's be bringing through these different pieces of the puzzle as we change the world one book at a time. What do you do when you want to write a book, but the usual approaches are leaving you feeling restricted, pressurized, not at all enough, and pretty dry, to be honest? You find another way, of course. And if you are listening to this, my free unconventional book writing guide is going to be perfect for you. It's designed especially for soul-led coaches, healers, and mentors who want to write a transformational book without spending hours on end chained to a desk. In it, I'm giving you my unique spin on the top 10 questions I hear from would-be authors, and it's going to help you liberate the way you write forever. Download your free copy of the guide now over at nicolahumber.com/10, the number 10, 10 hyphen questions.